Thank you very much, Senator Grassley, for helping for calling this hearing and inviting us to be at the table to talk about this vile and violent issue of human trafficking. I want to thank you for your leadership in the legislative area, but you've always been supportive on this whole issue of really attacks on women and children. To all the members of the Judiciary Committee, we thank you, and I know particularly Senators Klobuchar and Cornyn have been advancing important legislation along with Senator Schumer and, of course, Senator Leahy. The women of the Senate do not have a caucus. We have different views on budgets and bottom lines and top lines and so on, and on other issues. But we do try to find common ground where we can come together not as a caucus, but as a force to not only make a difference, but to make a change. And this year we've analyzed kind of where we are, and all 20 of us across the aisle want to work with our appropriate committees on the issue of human trafficking. We strongly feel that when you treat women, children, and boys as a commodity, and you are willing to sell them as a commodity and treat them as a commodity, there is nothing worse than that. And we look at really not only our law enforcement community, we look at our wonderful nonprofits and our faith-based communities, from the outstanding work of the Evangelical Church to our own, and even His Holiness Pope Francis has taken a pretty strong stand against this. So this is a big issue, and it requires us to be able to work together. That's why we sent that letter to you, to ask that you, because the Judiciary Committee is really the anchor committee to move ideas forward and to be able to work on the goal of eliminating human trafficking and to be able to advance our issue. Many of my colleagues have spoken about the issues. According to the State Department, 800,000 individuals are trafficked every year across international borders. Interpol has identified this as a serious crime because if you sell women and children, you will sell anything to anybody under any circumstances. And if you track human trafficking, you track drugs, and you actually track the selling of arms and possibly weapons of mass destruction. In our own country, up to 300,000 children a year are victims of trafficking. The calls to the national hotline are really just exploding. Now, I'm here today to reach out to the committee, not only working with Senator Collins as the senior women and all of our colleagues, to say, let's look at the new legislation, which we find so innovative and creative, that is coming forth in this committee, but also that we need to strengthen and fund existing programs. And I say this as the ranking member, but I know how strongly Senator Cochran feels about how we on the Appropriations Committee want to work with the authorizers for CJS to look at what we can put in the money in the federal checkbook to move ahead. But we want to work arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder with the authorizing committee to do this. Last year, working with Senator Shelby on the Subcommittee on Commerce and Justice, he and I worked very hard, and I must say I had his outstanding concurrence on this. We were able to put $42 million in the federal checkbook for victims of trafficking grants that were used at the local level to be able to provide counseling, emergency shelters, and other tools to the NGOs to be able to help people when they're rescued. We also worked very hard with the FBI, with the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and with our U.S. attorneys to make sure they had tools and resources to do it. It was an important step forward, but it can't be the only step forward. To support the FBI investigations, we put in $47 million, and that goes from the investigations for something like Operation Cross Country. What was that? In June 2014, through our FBI, they were able to rescue close to 200 children that were being forced into prostitution, and they got 281 pimps off the street. That's where our federal dollars are going. I think the people would support this. I had the opportunity to meet with the FBI in Maryland and with the U.S. Attorney's Office. And if they were at the table, as I'm sure representatives of other field offices, this was the field office, and also the U.S. Attorney's Office in my own state, they say, you know, Baltimore, Maryland, this is a sports town. We have our Super Bowls. We have great games. We have this. But you know what? They're on high alert during these big games because that's when the big traffickers come in and they use things, or they were using things like Craigslist. They also say we are a crossroads. We're in the I-95 corridor. These children and these women are being trafficked up and down I-95, which should be a corridor of opportunity and commerce and business, but there's a lot of awful, violent, despicable business going on. We need to help our local people to be able to do that. So I wanted to join with my colleagues and join with you, Senator Grassley, Senator Leahy, and the members of the committee. Let's have the authorizers and the appropriators really work together. Let's look at what needs to be done that's new and innovative. But let's also look at what we have and how we could build on it. And we need the wise counsel and the experience in the Judiciary Committee and leaders like yourself who've worked on this. But we want to work hand in hand. And in behalf of the women of the Senate, but really everywhere, we want to thank the good men of this committee, because this is not only a woman's issue, this is a human being issue. This is a human rights issue. And again, shoulder to shoulder, I think we can do something to make it safe for our communities and really do an important international work. So I thank you for your kindness and your consideration today.
Thank you, Senator Mikulski. I have